In my experience working with patients who are suffering from complex chronic illness, it's really, really common that they have multiple underlying diagnoses contributing to their symptoms. I think that many of us, prior to experiencing chronic illness or complex chronic illness ourselves, or knowing someone who has complex chronic illness, we just kind of think, oh, I've got this symptom, it's caused by this one thing, and I'm good to go. I have headaches, it must be, I have tight muscles in my neck, or I've got runny nose, must be because I'm allergic to something. It's just pretty cut and dry, pretty simple. Unfortunately, complex chronic illness, it's called complex for a reason. It's very complicated, and I mean that's not technically why it's called complex chronic illness, but it is complicated. And so in many cases, I find that in my practice, patients will have multiple underlying issues going on, and it isn't until we address the majority of them, if not sometimes all of them, that patients are able to become fully well. So sometimes when I'm working with patients, they come in saying, I've been working with Dr. So-and-so, and I was diagnosed with, Borreliosis and Bartonellosis and Mycoplasma, and we've been treating for X number of, months or years, and I've improved, but I've hit a plateau, or I just moved here from somewhere else, and my doc over there from where I came from has been treating me for this for years. And so when we talk and, get into things in more detail, in many cases, I'll see clues coming up of like, oh, well, you might have mold toxicity as well. You might have heavy metal issues. You might have detox pathway issues. You might have histamine-related issues. You might have mold-related issues. And when we chat about, their history and symptom progression and this and that, and look at all the things they've done, in many cases, we we'll do some additional testing or work with some other treatments to help address some of those underlying suspected issues, and we'll see the needle move further in the right direction, seeing further improvement. And the patients sometimes are like, oh, like I thought it was all the Lyme that I was dealing with, or I thought it was all this yeast overgrowth thing that was going on. It's like, no, you have SIBO as well, or you have LIBO as well, or other things that are going on. So I think that it's, as much as it sounds kind of maybe in some ways kind of daunting to be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm dealing with chronic symptoms, and do I have to have, half a dozen different diagnoses? No, not everybody does, but some people do. And as much as it's better in many ways to just have one thing wrong with you, one root cause of what's going on. In my opinion, I think that if there are multiple root causes, it's better to know about them all so they can all be properly addressed. Otherwise, there can just be a lot of wheel spinning, a lot of plateauing, a lot of time and money spent saying, oh, okay, it's all about mycoplasmosis. So, oh, this treatment, I've improved, but I've plateaued. So let's try this treatment for mycoplasma. Okay, that didn't work any better. Let's try this treatment for mycoplasma. Okay, that didn't work any better. Let's try this one. Well, maybe let's revisit that old one. And there can sometimes be just a lot of, trying to fit a square peg through a round hole. It's like, okay, the mycoplasma portion's been dealt with. There's some other stuff going on. So having the awareness of these other underlying health issues is really important. It's a really important part of my practice, and knowing about all the various things that can be underlying the symptoms that my patients are dealing with really helps me to get to the bottom of what's giving them grief quite a lot faster. I talk about this concept really all the time in my Overcoming Chronic Illness course. The first couple of modules of that are available for free if you sign up for my newsletter, and you get instant access to that. And anyone who's participated in that course can attest to the fact that I bring this up all the time, where there are just so many cases where we need to be aware of multiple root cause issues, in large part because, well, that allows us to be thorough and fully treat someone, but also because there's so much overlap between various symptoms. Those chronic mycoplasmosis symptoms can look identical to chronic mold illness symptoms. And so it's like, oh, all my symptoms fit this mycoplasma picture or fit this Borrelia picture. Yep, they also fit heavy metal toxicity. They also fit mold toxicity. In some cases, they totally overlap with mast cell activation syndrome. So really important to know about these multiple causes. So the video time is wearing on. I better leave it there for now. If you have any questions about this topic or anything else, please post in the comment section below, and otherwise I will sign off.